Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to Open Mic here on my YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and it's an honor and a privilege, as it is every day, to have you guys joining me here as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies. This is a virtual meeting room where all of us friends who love movies standing around a water cooler talking about our favorite things in the world, movies, and all together type stuff. Now, I don't know what on earth we're going to talk about today. What are we going to talk about today? Is there anything interesting to talk about today? Oh, yeah. Last night I went and saw a little movie that was called Avengers Infinity War. And we're going to talk about that as well. Now, then I'm going to take your questions. Now, let me give a little bit of ground rules right now for the questions. You can ask stuff about anything that you want. However, I'm going to ask you for this. I'm going to just let you know, while I will answer some general Avengers Infinity War questions, I can't get too specific about anything, and I can't go into much, because first of all, the review embargo isn't until 3 o'clock today. So 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, that's 6 p.m. East Coast time. That's when the review embargo ends, so that's when I can fully review. But I can share my general thoughts, the ones that I shared on my social media, and we're going to talk about some other people's social media reactions that were also there at the premiere last night. Ann and I had a fabulous time last night. It was a great time. For those of you who saw, I did a live streaming video. It doesn't look good because obviously when you're surrounded by like thousands of other people all trying to use their phones, the feed wasn't great, but I was able to take a video of us getting on the carpet, walking down the carpet, showing you the exhibits and what I saw walking into the theater of Avengers Infinity War. That's on my YouTube channel right now, so you can go and check that out. But let's get things started with this. I'll talk about my reactions to the movie, and I'll start off with this. I will read you guys my reaction, okay? Here's my reaction I wrote about Infinity War, okay? Here is my social media reaction. My reaction coming out of the theater was this. Infinity War is great, very solid, and fans will love it. My one issue is that there is almost too much going on and you can feel the weight of so many characters. Still handled it as well as it possibly could have been. Top-notch job, very entertaining. Thanos is the main character. Let's be clear about that. We heard some rumblings that, hey, Thanos is the main guy, and sometimes shit like that is true, sometimes it's not. Thanos is the main character of the movie. So the one thing the Russo brothers said before, that the person who gets the most screen time in the film is Thanos, absolutely true. Thanos is absolutely the main character of this film. And I will go so far as to say this. Thanos, I believe, without going into any details about the movie itself, I believe Thanos is the best villain the MCU's ever done on multiple levels. Not just because he's the biggest and the strongest. No, I mean, he is the best villain character the MCU has ever had. And I believe there's an argument to be made that it will challenge Heath Ledger's Joker for the best comic book movie villain of all time. Like, not just MCU, maybe best comic book movie villain of all time. I had some issues with the film, like I do like every single film I see, I have some issues. But it is, once again, let me read my tweet again. Infinity War is great, very solid, and fans will love it. My one issue is that there's almost too much going on and you can feel the weight of so many characters. Still, handled as well as it possibly could have been. Top-notch job, very entertaining. Thanos is the main character. Okay, so there's that. Now, let's go into, I wasn't the only person at this premiere last night. There were other people at the premiere last night. So let's go through some of their comments, and I'll give some commentary whether I kind of agree or disagree. Scott Corla from IGN wrote, Infinity War is mostly great, somehow managing to mix all the elements of the MCU into one big mixtape of fun, thrills, emotion, and despair. The ending is brilliant. Oh, I'll agree with that. I think that sums it up pretty nicely, actually. And here's the thing, and I can already see people online doing this, right? Last night, I put out my tweet, right? And again, my tweet is, Infinity War is great, very solid, fans will love it, handled as well as it could have been, top-notch job, very entertaining, Thanos is the main character. I wrote all that, right? And I still had people last night tweeting, man, I don't know, John's tweet doesn't seem like it has a very good vibe. I don't think he liked it. I'm like, this is why I hate humanity. This is why I have given up on humanity, right? So that just brings it back to mind again, because reading Scott's tweet about how Mostly great, mixes all the great elements of the MCU into one big mixtape of fun, thrills, emotion, and despair. The ending is brilliant. So writes all that, but I can already see people going, oh, so it's not that good. Unless you say it's the greatest thing ever made, it's not good. Everything's got to be a 10 out of 10 or it's not good. I mean, I can already hear the Robotrons kind of saying that. But anyway, okay, so let's move on from Scott's thing. Okay, let's go to this one here. This one comes from Jim Vivoda, who wrote, I liked Avengers Infinity War more than a few other folks I'm talking to after the premiere. It's hugely emotional, very funny, but some might find it ... I need to sleep on it. And that's the thing. There is so, like I said in my kind of tweet, there is so much going on. There is so much going on in this film that it is a lot to process. We go to Eric Cohn, who wrote, maybe the most expensive, this is funny, maybe the most expensive Hollywood movie ever designed to mess with its audience. People sure are going to sit through a lot of credits. And by the way, I will tell you this, because I don't believe this is any sort of a spoiler. I'm not going to tell you about the post-credit scenes, but everybody asks me, are there post-credit scenes? There is, but there's just one. There is only one post-credit scene. So you're going to want to sit through the credits. Just believe me, you're going to want to sit through the credits to get to the post-credit scene. Okay, let's go here. Angie Han writes, despite some truly thrilling moments, feels like less than the sum of its parts, a definite step down after that epic run of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I liked it more than Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Spider-Man Homecoming, Thor 3, Black Panther, but what else did I expect? I mean, I know that's going to be one of the big questions a lot of people will put to me is, how do you compare it with the other MCU movies? I'll wait till I do my review to do that. Let's see. Matt Singer writes, Avengers Infinity War, a movie version of a massive comic book crossover for better, fun character interactions and worse. It's pretty much all Infinity Stone shenanigans. So there's that as well. Let's move on to Tasha Robinson, who writes, Avengers Infinity War is basically Captain America Civil War times 20. I don't agree with that. Except with less hero-on-hero fighting. I think people who loved the airport fight in Civil War, like I did, will go nuts for the film, and people who were bored with it will be 20 times more bored here. We move on to our friend Peter Soretta here from Slash Film, who writes, Infinity War is everything you want, nothing you expect. It's funny, surprising, dark, filled with delightful interplay between characters never seen on screen before. I know many filmmakers say they are trying to make a sequel in the vein of Empire Strikes Back. This succeeds. Let's see. Mike Ryan writes, Avengers Infinity War is has like 10 legit chill down the spine great moments, but it's for sure the first half of a two-part movie, and I left a little unsatisfied / frustrated, maybe by design. At least that's how I feel right now, 3 hours later. There are a few people I've seen, and you guys will make up your own minds when you see it. There are a few people I see saying, oh, this is definitely the first part of a story. I disagree. I disagree with that. I see where they're coming from, and I can't explain why I feel that way, but I disagree with that sentiment, but whatever. Let's see. Infinity War is exhausting. It all just turned into noise for me after a while, but the amazing ending almost made up for the rest of it, and Thanos is a good, sad villain. Let's see. Ryan Parker writes, one of the best films I've ever seen. I'm emotionally drained. And yeah, so, I mean, look, you're getting your cross-section there. Here's what I'm going to say. As I kind of mentioned in in my tweet about it, there is a lot going on. I mean, at 2.5 hours, this is one of those movies where, yeah, it needed every second of 2.5 hours. It needed every second of it. And because you can absolutely feel that with like literally 27 headline characters. You needed every second of... Now, many movies don't need... Like, for instance, I still don't think Justice League needed to be any longer. Justice League with its 6 characters, I think 2 hours is fine. And I thought 2.5 hours is fine for this one, but it needed every second of it. Again, with like 27 main characters, 27 plus actually, headline characters. It was really, there's just so much to do. So every second of this movie, something's happening. And it does get to be a bit exhausting. It does. Because there's something happening all the time. There are so many characters and there's so much to do. and so much action taking place in so many different locations. But I'm telling you, what the Russos did, as I mentioned in my tweet, they handled it as good as anybody could have handled that. I mean, really, they did. And it is like what Peter Serretta said. He said it's everything you wanted, a whole ton of what you weren't expecting. And I'll say this. I'll go into it a little bit more detail in the spoiler review on Sunday. And don't forget, my actual review of the movie is coming up at 3 p.m. today. But I will say this. Out of the 40 things that I said I really believe are going to happen in this film, there are a handful of them that did happen. Out of the 40 wild theories that people threw at me that I just totally rejected. I mean, always saying, but hey, never count anything out. Anything's possible, but I don't think that's going to happen. Out of the 40 things that I said that's never going to happen, there are a couple of them that absolutely do. And that therein is why we should always say, look, I don't believe that's going to happen, but who knows? Anything's possible. That's why you got to say that, because there are some things. Like I said, there was about 40 things that I said, no way does that happen in this movie. And there's 3 or 4 of them that absolutely do. So it's like, well, there you go. So, and if you want to sit at home now and try to speculate, well, out of the 40 or 50 things John has said he really didn't think would happen, which 3 or 4 things could they be? Be my guest if you want, but you'll never guess them. Anyway, look, overall, it's a thrill ride. I mean, it's a thrill ride. And one of the things I said in my tweet, and when I said, I think audiences are going to love it. I think even marginal MCU fans are really going to enjoy this film. Do I put it in my top 3 MCU films? I'm not so sure about that. But again, I'll get more into that into my actual full review a little bit later today. All right, with all that out of the way, let's go over to you guys in the live chat, because I know you guys, I'm sure, have a whole ton of stuff you want to talk about here. Mason Barr writes, new Venom trailer, isn't he beautiful? I mean, look, that's one of the things coming out of Avengers Infinity War. We're just all buzzing about Avengers Infinity War, and then all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, they dropped the Venom trailer. I'll talk more about this on the John Campea show later today. That's going to come up at 2 o'clock, just before the Infinity War review. I really liked that trailer. I really liked that Venom trailer. The whole conversations with himself. We will do what we want. Is it a deal? I mean, we are Venom. I just, they captured that, you know? I liked it a lot. Still a big question mark in there about how much Venom are we actually going to see in the movie, but I really dug it. Mason follows it up with, tied game, 30 seconds left on the clock. Forrest Gump wants to go home. Bobby Boucher thinks Forrest is talking bad about his mama. Can Bobby stop Forrest? No, nothing can stop Forrest. Run, Forrest, run. Nothing stops Forrest Gump. Are you kidding me? Not even Bobby Boucher. Curtis Lopez writes, in continuation of the discussion for Zemeckis movies, how about Roger Rabbit? Thoughts? I mean, Roger Rabbit's Roger Rabbit. I mean, it's considered a classic for many reasons. Hold on a second. Let me, I want to find out the name of this one dude. If I can find it easily and quickly. One of the dudes who's like behind the story of it. And I'm not going to be able to find it quickly. But anyway, I really enjoy Roger Rabbit. I mean, it doesn't hold that super special place in my heart like it does for a lot of other people, I admit. But it's a solid movie. I mean, it's one you certainly will always remember once you see it. Let's see. KW Garrett writes, this is far more important than Infinity War. What's your beverage of choice at the movie theater? I prefer Dr. Pepper. Pepsi tastes awful, so I get water if that's my only option. Here's the funny thing. I've always preferred Coke over Pepsi, but I've always preferred Diet Pepsi over Diet Coke. Most movie theaters don't have a Pepsi option, though, so normally what I get is a Coke Zero. That's normally my beverage of choice when I go to movie theaters now is Coke Zero. Curtis Lopez writes, have you seen the Spielberg film Always? You know what? I don't know that I have, to be honest with you. Curtis Lopez writes, what are your thoughts on the movie What About Bob with Bill Murray? It's a good movie. It's great. Again, there are some people who think it belongs in the pantheon of all-time classics. I'm not one of those, but it's a solid, good movie. Dakota Barber writes, from reactions on Twitter, I gather Infinity War has a great deal of emotion, surprises, and they did great with Thanos. Can't wait for the movie and your review. I will say this. I agree with everything that you just wrote. I'll say that. I agree with everything you just wrote. And again, one of the things I'm probably going to spend a lot of time in my review talking about is Thanos. and what they did with Thanos. It was just, it's really, if you're going to say the one thing that they clearly did the best in Infinity War, we're going to be talking about Thanos. Chris Miner writes, favorite Marvel movie pre-MCU, Spider-Man 2 is mine. Yeah, it's a toss-up for me between Spider-Man 2 and X-Men 2. X-Men 2 for a long time I thought was the greatest comic book movie ever. I thought Spider-Man 2 was the greatest comic book movie for a while, so it's kind of a toss-up between those two. Donaldo Martinez writes, so every month my local theater shows older films from the 80s and 90s, etc. My question is, do the theaters need permission from studios to play older movies? Yes, you do have to get permission. If you're ever going to exhibit, I don't care if you own a Blu-ray, you can't do a public I got the hiccups, sorry guys. You can't do a public exhibition without some sort of permission. Where you get permission, and studios have other bodies that are enabled to give permission on the studio's behalf. So there's stuff like that, but yes, they do have to get permission, pay a licensing fee, all that kind of stuff. Alexander Helmer writes, I know you can't reveal a lot, but did you like or not like Infinity War? Oh, I liked it. Oh yeah, that is beyond question. I like this movie. I like this movie a great deal. But again, there are other, as to how much exactly and why that much and not others, I got to wait till I get to my actual review, because there is a review embargo right now. Zombitron 5678 writes, for Infinity War, I know you can't say much, but do we get Ragnarok Thor or the traditional Thor? If you can't say, then please remember for when you can. Well, what I can say is this. I can remind us all of the public statements that Chris Hemsworth has made about Thor in Infinity War. Chris Hemsworth has said that, at first, when he was hearing the story, he was a little bit concerned about Infinity War because he loved where they brought Thor, where the character had evolved to in Thor Ragnarok. And he was very concerned that that going into Infinity War, they would undo the character development they had done with Thor Ragnarok and the evolution of Thor that kind of culminated in Thor Ragnarok. And Chris Hemsworth has said he was concerned about that. And Chris has said, now there are definitely some changes, but when the Russo brothers explained to Chris how they change and why they change and all that kind of stuff, then Hemsworth got on board with it. He said, okay, that sounds good. I'm on board with this. So look, I'll say this. Every time we've seen Thor, he evolves a little bit. And the same is true of this. Every movie we've seen Thor in, there's been a bit of an evolution. Infinity War is no different. It's not the exact same Thor in Ragnarok, but it's not the exact same Thor from any pre-Ragnarok stuff either. It's clearly Thor at his core, and it's still very much Thor, but with a little bit of evolution. Which is understandable when you look at Thor Ragnarok and what he went through in Thor Ragnarok. I will answer your questions just by reminding us of publicly said things by Chris Hemsworth. So that's what he said about that. Dimsum05 writes, I dreamt that I read a spoiler. What a nightmare. Yeah, and look, there are a good number of surprises in this film. Like it was written in those tweets, there are surprises that I can understand why the Russo brothers and everybody have been pleading with people. Please do not spread spoilers. Please do not spread spoilers. It's just that people. I don't know why people are asking. Does Thanos die? Does Loki die? What makes you think I'm going to answer that? That's a ridiculous thing to ask. I'm not going to answer that. Maybe one name writes. Saw Super Troopers 2 yesterday. It was pretty dumb. Did you see any good movies yesterday? Yeah, I saw one. Yeah. It's funny. I still have not, because of the busy week it's been, moving, trying to get settled into my new place. I was getting ready to go to Las Vegas. We had the Infinity War thing last night. I haven't seen I Feel Pretty or Super Troopers 2 yet. I feel bad about that, but I've just had to prioritize things. Guzz Off My Daddy writes, can't wait to see Thanos guzz off some Avengers. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. You're going to have to wait and see. Ben Hayusa writes, seeing all the reactions for Infinity War has now got me even more hyped. And also, how about that new Venom trailer and first look at Venom himself? Holy shit, I liked it a lot. I'm still waiting for another trailer to give us more Venom. I want to see more Venom, but I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm liking what I'm seeing very much. out of that trailer. Marcus Walker writes, John, have you ever seen the 1994 Roger Corman Fantastic Four film, as it is probably the most faithful adaptation of the source material and miles better than any of the 3 big budget adaptations? Yes, I have seen it, and I'm going to disagree with you on that. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just saying I disagree. There's the kind of bad that the Hollywood Fantastic Four films are. But then there's a different level of bad that the Corman Fantastic Four was. The Corman Fantastic Four was just unwatchable. Like the Fantastic Four films, you can watch them and you go, man, and there are some redeeming things, much like the Star Wars prequels, there are some redeeming things in each of the Fantastic Four films. But like that Corman one was just like college students who had no idea about what it meant to make a movie try to make a Fantastic Four movie. I mean, to me, it was just utterly unwatchable. But again, you watch it and it worked for you better than those other ones did. That's great. And I'm sure you're not alone. I'm sure there are other people who feel that way. I'm saying myself personally, I'll disagree with you personally. But again, your opinion is no more or no less valid than mine. But my point of view is that, that Corman one was on another level of bad, in my opinion, at any rate. Thanks for the question, man. Maybe One Name writes, I've been seeing more and more talk about a Black Widow film. Was there an official announcement that I missed, or is it still maybe not? It's still maybe not. What happened was there were statements made and things said that, hey, this could happen. Like, hey, we got a screenwriter. And hey, we did this. But everybody gets carried away when things like that get announced because guess what? Lots of projects get screenwriters on and start like an exploratory development kind of thing to see what can we come up with. 90% of those projects never see the light of day after that. I mean, that's just reality. So no, there is not officially a Black Widow movie coming. That's just not the case yet. But we have seen things that they're exploring the idea. They are clearly exploring the idea. And they're even getting a script developed to see what they can come up with. And that may down the line lead to an official Black Widow movie. It could happen. We're certainly seeing that they're at least looking down that path. But is there one coming? Officially at this point, no. Officially at this point, no, not yet. Murray for Us writes, why do people enjoy watching trailer reactions? I'm not sure, but here's the thing. There's not a lot of trailer reactors I like to watch. There are a couple of them. Like the Day One guys, I can watch them. I believe it's totally scripted, but oh my God, I don't care because they're just so entertaining. I love watching those dudes. Here's the funny thing. There are a bunch of people who do trailer reactions that, and this is kind of why I don't do the traditional trailer reaction, because I think most of them are faked. Faked as in they've either already watched a trailer or two, they're really exaggerating their responses for the camera. And look, I got no problem with that. That's fine because there are trailer reactors out there that I've watched trailers with when there's no cameras on and they don't react like, whoa, like they do when they're doing their trailer reactions, right? And it's like, okay, so like 90% of trailer reacting stuff is performance. And I just stopped, like I tried doing one or two trailer reactions, not more than one or two. I tried doing a couple of them and it's just like, watching me watch a trailer is boring because even if I totally love a trailer, I'm like, whoa, yeah. But that's when most YouTube trailer reactions are, whoa, then me just doing my normal reactions of, oh, wow, yeah. Like, even if it's something I love, then it comes across as like law of diminishing returns, right? So it's like, what's the point? So what I have preferred to do personally is I prefer doing trailer breakdowns. Like I just prefer going, look, you've seen the trailer, so you don't need to watch me watching the trailer. Let's put the trailer on and now go through it shot by shot and break it down, talk about the things we liked and didn't like. That's what I like to do. But look, there are a lot of people who love trailer reactions. Like I said, even I, who am not a big fan of trailer reactors, I've got a couple that I really enjoy watching. Whether it's scripted or exaggerated or not, there's a couple of them that are very, very entertaining. And I get a big kick. And there's clearly a lot of people who love watching trailer reactions. And I got no problem with them. Like I said, for me, I was a little bit soured because I've watched trailers for the first time with a number of people who do trailer reactions, and I just realized that's not how you react on your YouTube trailer reactions, you know? And so it's kind of demystified it a little bit for me. But there are a lot of people who love it, and that's great. And so I don't poo-poo any of it. Look, if there's an audience out there that loves the trailer reaction stuff, then I got no problem with there being a bunch of people out there doing trailer reactions to feed what the audience is looking for. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not really for me, but it is for an awful lot of people. And that's great. And there's some really great successful trailer reactors out there. Some I like more than others, but hey, that's the same as in anything, right? So I'm not a huge person in trailer reactions, but I got no problem with anybody else who is. If that's what you love, that's what you love. That's great. Nothing wrong with that. Murray also follows up with, does Infinity War feel like its own film and not a setup? I'm not pausing because I don't know how to answer that question. I'm pausing because I'm not sure if I should answer that question. You know what? No, I'll say this. I feel like it's its own movie. I really do. Because that's why I said there are a number of people who will say coming out of this movie, and like a couple of the reactions that we saw on Twitter from last night have people saying, it felt like the first part to a story. And I disagree. I feel like it is a fully self-contained, done movie. Other people feel differently. So you're going, John, what do you mean? Why are you saying other people saying that, but you're saying this? How? Why? I can't answer that. You're going to have to see the movie for yourself. Half of you are going to come out thinking like me, going, that's a totally self-contained movie. And then half of you are going to come out going, that feels like part one of a movie. And we're going to be divided on that. And I can't explain why, because I can't get into that yet. Let's see. JR Metzny 86 just sends a super chat. Thank you, JR. We had our big jump. Hold on a second. I'm going to back up here. Okay, there we go. Rodrigo Ortiz writes, you're right, John. Only delusional DC fanboys believe that they shouldn't reboot. They're so annoying on Twitter with their release the Snyder cut crap. Well, look, okay, just pump the brakes a little bit here, Rodrigo. First of all, I've never said only delusional DC fanboys don't. No, that's not true. I mean, to me, here's the thing. Everybody wants, except for blind corporate zombie slaves, everybody wants a thriving, enjoyable, great DC cinematic universe. Everybody wants that, aside from corporate zombie slaves. Where a lot of the more hardcore DCEU fans, and I will disagree, is the best route to getting to that place where we have a thriving, successful, enjoyable DCEU. There are some who feel like the best way to get there is just by continuing to do everything we've already done. To me, that's a little insane. It doesn't devalue their opinion. I'm just saying, to me, that's a little bit insane because that's the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over while expecting different results. You've heard that saying before, right? The definition of insanity is continuing to do the same thing and expecting different results. That's the definition of insanity. To me, it's a little bit insane. To me, clearly the best, and there is precedent for this. We've seen in the realm of comic book movies, rebooting works. It's not guaranteed to work. It's not guaranteed. But we have seen precedent in the comic book movie universes that rebooting can work. And that post-rebooting, your franchise can be better and stronger and more successful. It could also fail, yeah. But we've seen precedent that it can succeed. What we have seen right now with the DCEU is that they've built up their DCU, and then the big culmination of the DCEU, Justice League, became the least successful film out of all of them. When the MCU was building up their thing, and then they hit Avengers did $2 billion at the box office. When the DCU built up to its thing and then released Justice League, it did $650 million. About 1/3 of what Avengers did. That's not healthy. And I don't believe that the way to get to that place that we all want it to go thriving, healthy, successful DC cinematic universe, the best way to get there is not by continuing to just do the same thing we've always done. Just keep going. Just keep going. But we're getting further and further away from our goal. Doesn't matter. Just keep walking that way. I'm sure something good will happen. But I don't think they're delusional fanboys. I just think they want to have happen what they think will bring it success. I just happen to disagree about what we have to do and what Warner Brothers needs to do to get us to that same place that we all want to go, success for the DC cinematic universe. They believe it's to continue walking in the same direction they're doing right now. I believe it's about face, going back, restarting. But at the end of the day, we all want the same thing, right? So I don't think they're delusional. The whole release the Snyder Cut thing is ridiculous, yes, but I don't think people who don't want them to reboot are delusional. I think, though, they are ignoring some of the facts. I think they're blinding themselves a little bit to the realities of the situation. But at the end of the day, we're all on the same page. We all want great, successful DCEU movies. Okay, next one up. Murray for Us writes, is Martha in the film? Big role in the film. Big role in the film. I mean, it was crazy. There's this scene where Nova shows up, and Nova and Captain Marvel comes too, and they start fighting Thanos. And then Thanos is about to kill Nova, and Nova screams out, "I'm really going to miss that great ice cream shop called Martha's." And Thanos freezes. It's an amazing moment in the film where everybody, please tell me you know I'm joking. Anyway, so no Martha's in the film. Donaldo Martinez writes, with the announcement of Netflix Fast and the Furious animated series, which I am still shaking my head about, is that a sign of no more theatrical movies considering the feud with The Rock and Vin? Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. No. They're definitely still doing the Fast and the Furious movies. This is not a sign of them. Look, even if the animated series was with Dominic Toretto, but it's not. It's about his little cousin. No, make no mistake about it. They're doing Fast and the Furious 9. They're doing Fast and Furious 10. This franchise is a huge moneymaker. They know it is. And they're going to keep doing it. Maybe it won't make as much money as it has, but it's going to make money. So no, as ridiculous as this whole animated series idea of theirs is, believe me, it is not an indicator that they're going to stop doing the movies. They're not going to stop doing the movies for some little animated show they're going to do on Netflix. Believe me, they're not going to do that. JRMSETSNY86 writes, I just started following you and Ann on social media and realized I've never seen you stand. Are you a giant or is Ann just tiny? No, I'm not a giant. I'm about 6 feet tall. Ann is short, but she's not like, she's not a hobbit or anything like that. But yeah, I'm around 6 feet. She's on the short. She's like 5'3", I think, 5'3", 5'4". Or I might be way off about that. I'm not sure. But she is smaller, and I guess a little bit bigger than average, but I'm certainly no giant. But thank you for following us on social media. I appreciate that. AV Towns writes, what's up, John? That Venom trailer was awesome. Love the look of Venom. The voice to me was perfect. Now I'm excited for the movie. Yeah, I thought the voice was great. But more than just the voice, the schizophrenic interaction between Tom and the symbiote. That was great. And I enjoyed that a great deal. To me, this trailer revealed the personality of Venom, if you will. And that to me was solid. Again, this movie could be a hot mess. It could be an awful, terrible train wreck of a movie. Absolutely. I'm just saying, so far, I'm liking what I'm seeing. And I think this trailer was definitely a big step in the right direction for a lot of people. All right, AV Towns also follows it up with, I love Bruce Lee. My favorite Bruce Lee movie is The Way of the Dragon, with the fight between him and Chuck Norris. What is your favorite Bruce Lee movie? Let me bring up a list here. Here's the funny thing. While the fight with Chuck Norris is an iconic moment in any Bruce Lee film, I don't think that particular one is my favorite one. I think it's one of two. It either has to be the stereotypical one that a lot of people say, which would be Enter the Dragon. The other one I quite like, that I know there are other people who don't like nearly as much, but is Game of Death. Game of Death, I get a big kick out of. But yeah, at a sheer iconic moments in films, Bruce Lee fighting Chuck Norris. I mean, how much? I mean, can you get much better than that? Let's see. History Soup. Will Flash go back to a speedster villain? I certainly hope not. I mean, look, Flash has been. I mean, what was it? The first 3 seasons, each season was a speed villain, right? You had Reverse Flash, you had Zoom, you had Savitar. I mean, now, granted, I'm not a big fan of the DeVoe villain they've got going right now, but at least it's not another speedster. I mean, at some point you can have another speedster. I just hope they don't go back to another speedster next season and have like 4 out of the first 5 seasons, all the villains are speedsters. I mean, I just get a little bit tired of it. Because every time it's the same thing. I'm Barry Allen, I'm the fastest man alive. Oh, but now I've come across somebody that's faster. And then I find a way to beat him. And then the next season, I'm the fastest man alive. Oh, now I've come across somebody who's faster. But I'll find a way to beat him. And then the next season, I'm the fastest man alive. Oh, now I've come across yet another person who's faster than me. Oh, but I'll find a way to beat him. I mean, I'm getting tired of it. You know what I mean? So at least, even though I'm not a big fan of the DeVoe character, I'm at least happy they've moved on from like yet another speedster villain. Let's see. Orange Hand writes, I agree, a Marvel/DC crossover movie would be ridiculous. But what if they made a professional-looking fake trailer just for fun? No, that would be great. That would look, if Marvel and DC, if Warner Brothers and Disney got together, invested like, I don't know, $5 million together. They went on it together, and they made a 3-minute Justice League Avengers collide, right? Trailer, fake trailer. They spent about $5 million for a 3-minute trailer. It would crush every YouTube record ever made, and it would be great. It would be great. I mean, but that's always been my criticism about the idea, right, of an Avengers and DC crossover, is that that's something that sounds like a great 15-minute YouTube video, but it would be a total convoluted mess of a movie. But what you're suggesting is perfect. If those studios had the foresight to get together, each pitch in $2 or $3 million each, right? Get a $5-6 million budget for a 2.5-minute, 3-minute fake trailer for that movie, it would be awesome. It would be awesome, and it would break the internet. It would absolutely, forget Gangnam Style, it would break every record overnight for the most viewed YouTube video ever. And it would be amazing. And I just think it would be great mutual promotion for both Justice League, the DC Cinematic Universe, and for the Marvel Universe. I think it would be great. I think it would be great for both of them. It would be wonderful. I would love to see that. Let's see. Amy Singh writes, in India, Infinity War opens in 2,000 screens, highest ever for a Hollywood movie. Also, no major Bollywood movies are being released this weekend. It's a sellout. Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, nobody anywhere in any country or any culture probably wants to open against Avengers Infinity War. With the exception of some counter-programming. Some counter-programming could do well. We've seen that happen, right? Really good, smart counter-programming can be effective and get you some good results. It's just a matter of finding the right thing. But that's really, I didn't even know. Look, that shows you what I knew. I didn't even realize there were 2,000 screens in India. Thank you for sharing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I didn't think there were like 18 screens in India. I just didn't realize it was 2,000. Geo writes, what is the better show, Mad Men or Breaking Bad? Both classics and changed the television scene, but Don Draper is so great. He alone puts it over Breaking Bad. I'll disagree. I mean, look, John Hamm as Don was great. He was great. And I'm not even one of these Breaking Bad is the greatest show ever made guys. I'm not one of those. But I would give the edge to Breaking Bad. Personally, I'd give the edge to Breaking Bad. But you're right. Both are classics. Both kind of revolutionized the television scene a little bit. And they both kind of came in out of nowhere and were big surprise hits when they happened. I would personally put Breaking Bad over Mad Men, though. E. Edgram 1028 writes, John, what's your opening weekend prediction now? Woo! Opening weekend prediction. For Venom? No, for Infinity War. Wow. I'm going to say 253. I'm going to say 253 million opening weekend. So yeah, I now think it is going to break the record. The word of mouth is going to be positive enough. Because remember, the projections came out 135 to 250. Or 250 plus, whatever. 135 is under the record. 250 is just over the record. And now that I've seen the movie and I'm getting a sense for what the word of mouth and response is going to be going into opening weekend, I am now ready to say what I did not think I would. Did not think I would be in a position where I'm saying this, but here I am. I think it's going to break the record. Yeah. Now that I got a sense of the movie and now that I see what the first reactions are coming out of it, I think that's going to be enough to propel it to the upper end of the projections. As like if the reactions had been more mediocre and if I came out of Infinity War going, it was okay, then I probably would have gone to the lower end of the projections, 235, 240, 241, which wouldn't have been enough to break the record. But feeling more positively about it and seeing the positive responses that other people are also feeling, and that's the word that's getting out. Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to break the record. Now I'm thinking it's going to, and I'm going to go 253. 253, which will make it break the record by $6 million. It'll break the record by $6 million. That's my guess right now. So who knows? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Let's see. Maybe one name writes, so did you hate Iron Spider more or less than you thought? Oh, hated it more. Love the character. Tom Holland is great in the movie. And I love the character. I mean, I loved him in I just don't like the outfit he uses. I really dislike it, to be honest. But the character is great, and that's the most important thing, is the character. The character is far more important than the costume. So yes, the costume drives me crazy, but the character is the most important thing, and the character is great. And I really enjoyed the character. Let's see. Van Sensei writes, loved when in Infinity War, Abe Lincoln and Pizza the Hut fight. Pizza the Hut is a bad dude. Thanos, it's the one thing Thanos is afraid of, is Pizza the Hut. Unless Thanos can trap him in a room and then Pizza has to eat himself to death. For those of you who get that reference, congratulations. Because I know there's a bunch of you right now who are like, what the hell are they talking about? But if you got the reference, good on you. Let's see. Kalis Menon writes, how does IMDb already have a rating for Infinity War? How is that possible? They also give away the post-credit scene of Void. It's the same reason why I say never trust these fan ratings on IMDb or whatever, because people are allowed to vote who've never seen the movie. That's why I keep telling you guys, ignore the audience ratings on IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes or whatever. I mean, they're fun to look at for a point of reference, but do not take them seriously. Because nobody who voted on IMDb has seen the movie. I'll tell you that right now. So just, and then that's not going to change. Even once the movie opens, there are going to be people voting multiple times on a movie they've never seen. And it's either going to be 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, or 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Don't pay any attention to it. Don't pay any attention to it. Let's see. Kylos Menon, oh, sorry, that was already, we already asked that. James B. writes, do you think Marvel almost purposefully downplayed other villains in the MCU leading up to Thanos in order to heighten up the anticipation for him? No, not at all. Not at all. You don't do something bad on purpose to try to make something else look better later. No, success breeds success. So, no. Look, every movie, Marvel has a particular philosophy that they usually hold to, which is, like that one thing Kevin Feige once said, our movies are about our heroes. The villains are there to help the hero along the hero's journey, but our movies are about our heroes. So that's where they put their attention, and it works. And sometimes you do something a little bit different, where you can put a little bit more attention on the villain. They did that with Killmonger in Black Panther. They've clearly done that with Thanos, because this is mostly Thanos' movie. But no, they don't. They downplayed it. They downplayed the villain in other films because that was what was best for those other films. That's what made those other films as successful as they were. That's what worked in that film, but this works better in this film. So, every film has its own identity, but no, I don't believe for a second they ever downplayed other villains just so in 5 years when we do an Avengers Infinity War, Thanos will look really good. That's not why they do it. Rakuz writes, was any character underused in your opinion? all of them. But that's not a surprise. You have literally 27 hero characters. They're all underused. But there was no way. That doesn't mean they weren't each used effectively. That doesn't mean they weren't each used well. And I'm not going to go into those details until we get into the official review. But what were we expecting though, right, Recrues? I mean, it's a movie with 27 major characters. Nobody's going to be used enough. And that's one of the things. So that's one of the things I said in my tweet was you could feel the weight of so many characters. Again, that is not to say that the characters weren't used wonderfully in little pieces, but they were all underused. But you knew that. We all knew that going in. You can't have a movie that's under 7 hours long with 27 main characters and they're all going to be fully utilized. Like, we all knew that going in. The question is, how well do they do it despite that? And despite that fact, they do a pretty damn good job. But, I mean, it's a movie with 27 major characters. What did we expect? The question wasn't, are some characters going to be underused? That's not the question. The question is, okay, accepting that pretty much all the characters are going to be underused because there's just too many characters to go around and not enough screen time. The question is, how good of a job can they do despite that? The answer, pretty damn good. But it doesn't take away the reality of the fact that you've got 2.5 hours of screen time and you got 27 major characters. So, I mean, it is what it is. So don't read too much into that one way or the other. It's just what we all knew it was going to be anyway. Ben Davis writes, how was Star-Lord in Infinity War? Liked him. Again, I'm not going to go into detail, but I liked him. And I think you will too. James McHatton writes, John, love your work. Been waiting for you to start all morning. I'm literally pulling my root truck over and taking lunch to hear this. Been following since AMC. Huge fan. Super chat. Brilliant for me. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. I've been waiting ever since last night to do the show. What I'm really waiting to do is my full review. So my full review, once again, that comes later this afternoon once the embargo lifts. But thank you so much for sharing that, James. And thank you for pulling over. I appreciate that. I don't want you getting hurt watching the show. So thank you so much for that. Okay, let's keep going here. Recrues, we've got about 12 minutes left here. Recrues writes, does the movie theater make more money from food or actual movies? Oh, food. Food. Movie theaters make money from their food. They really don't make hardly anything from the movies themselves. There's this great comment. I've told you guys about this comment before. But one of the heads of one of the big major theater chains at CinemaCon once year, which is a big convention for the cinema owner associations, one of the big head guys once said this, and this is totally true. We, as movie theater owners, we are not in the movie business. We are in the candy business. And that's totally true. The vast majority of movie theaters' money, and they have razor thin margins, but the vast majority of how they stay open is not the movie tickets, because the studios take most of the movie money. This is great. The theater made $1 million in box office sales this week. Oh, but like 670 million of that has to go back to the movie theaters. So they really don't make much on the movie tickets themselves. Where they really make their money is with the concession stands. That's how they keep their lights on. That's how they pay for the screens and the projectors and the seats and the staff and the air conditioning. That's how they pay for it. So I know it's a frustrating thing for me as a film fan. It's like, why do I gotta pay $7 for a bag of popcorn that probably cost you 65 cents to make? Because that's how they keep their lights on. If they don't, they close shop and there's no more movie theaters. I mean, so some people think movie theaters are just greedy by charging. No, that's how much they got to charge to keep their lights on. There needs to be a change in the industry about how they distribute the wealth of the box office a little bit to make it a little bit more sane. But yeah, without question, the movie theaters make most of their money not from the ticket you buy to get into the theater, but it's from the concessions you buy once you're in the theater. That's where movie theaters make their money. Let's see. Alan Gonzalez writes, have you played video games at the theater? A theater here in Tucson has that option for $100. I have played because I used to work at this place that we had a movie theater. And so every once in a while, we just bring in a digital projector, hook up a game system to it, and play it in there. But I've never gone to like another theater to buy to go in. That's for $100 sounds like a little steep though, just to play it on a giant screen. But maybe they got more perks and bells and whistles. But yes, I have done it, but in a private setting. Sloniker Joshua just sends in a super chat. Thank you so much, Sloniker. Sam Mayer writes, just wanted to say hi. I'm a fan from Iran. Well, thank you so much. You know what? I don't know that I've ever had. I'm sure I've had people watch from Iran before. I don't know that I've ever had somebody specifically write and say hi from Iran. I think this is a first for me. And I've been doing this a long time. Thank you, Sam. I appreciate that. That's great, man. ZCMZ writes, will Venom be at San Diego Comic-Con? I've got to believe he will. I got to believe he will. Especially with Marvel announcing that they're not going to have a major Hall H thing this year. It's prime pickings for Sony to go in there with their stuff, for Fox to go in to pump their future stuff, for Warner Brothers to go in and pump Aquaman and Shazam. Now you're going to have a lot more of the attention spotlight because Marvel's not going to be there to suck up a bunch of it. So let's put it this way. Sony should absolutely take Venom to San Diego Comic-Con. They absolutely should. And I think they will, but I don't know for sure. But they 100% should. Take advantage of this. You'll never have a better opportunity at Comic-Con like this one. So I hope they go do it. Ninja-trocity TV writes, do we get some Civil War airport battle type of action in Infinity War? Well, I can answer that because you see it in the trailer. I mean, the big battle in Wakanda is like the main thing they've been promoting in the trailer. So that whole big battle sequence, amongst other things in the movie, are kind of there. But again, I can tell you that because that's in the trailer, so I'm not really giving anything away. But yeah, for sure. Recruz writes, oops, I lost Recruz. Where'd Recruz go? We don't usually have two jumps like that. Okay. Recruz writes, Venom sounds like he did in the 90s cartoon of Spider-Man, even more excited for it. Yeah, there is a little bit of that in there, right? And I think that's part of the reason why I emotionally connected to it so quickly, was because there's a little bit of recognition in there. Not that that's always the right thing to do. It's not. But in this case, it was. Because as soon as I heard that voice, it just connected with me on a subconscious level as well. It's like, yeah! And I was really into it, right? And it is kind of neat. After that trailer dropped, you started to see the narrative change a little bit about Venom. I mean, which has been mostly pessimistic. And I don't think that trailer has won everybody over, but it's won a lot of people over. That trailer has gotten a lot of people to go from, oh, this is going to be bad, to, oh, maybe there could be something here. Like it took a major step forward for a lot of people. And that is what a trailer is supposed to do. Let's see what they do with future marketing. I still think they need one good significant trailer still between now and October, obviously. Okay, let's see here. Josh DeRose writes, who's the more intimidating HBO patriarch, Tony Soprano or Tywin Lannister? Ooh, I'm going to go Tony. Yeah, I'm going to go Tony Soprano. Tywin was great, but Tony's Tony, man. So I'm going to go Tony on that one. I like the question. I like that question. That's good. You could do a whole video on that, actually. I like that. But yeah, I'm going to go Tony on that. Maybe some of you guys would go the other way. I'm going to go Tony Soprano. Zora Storm 32 writes, Infinity War in IMAX 3D. Well, you guys know what I'm going to say. I hate 3D. So I'm never going to say, watch it in 3D. I was lucky that at the premiere, they didn't show it in 3D. They showed it in Dolby, which is what they show at AMC Prime. So I saw it in a Dolby dual laser projection system, which was great. Non-3D, which is great. So Look, if you're somebody who enjoys 3D, sure, go see in 3D, absolutely. But if you're asking for my general recommendation, I'll never recommend seeing something in 3D. But that's just me, because that's just how I feel about it. Doesn't mean that I'm right. That's just my feelings on it. BMC writes, this is hashtag no spoiler campaign, just there to hide that the embargo hasn't lifted until 2 days before release. No. This is a movie that clearly they knew people are going to respond positively to. When they hide embargoes, like when they quite often when there's a late embargo because they're trying to hide the film, is because the studio doesn't believe that the critics are going to enjoy it. Having watched this film, there's no way they thought critics weren't going to enjoy it. I mean, how much they enjoy it is up for debate. There are going to be some people that like it more than others. There are some people who like it a little bit less than me. There are some people who like it more than I did. But they knew that generally speaking, the critics are going to like this movie. So there's no reason to hide it. And I have very rarely seen a movie with as many potential big, key, major spoilers in it. Like Justice League, there was no spoiler in Justice League. Superman comes back to life. We knew he was coming back. That's no spoiler. I mean, literally, when you think about Justice League, there's nothing in that movie to spoil. And I'm not picking on Justice League. A lot of movies are like that. A lot of movies are like that. Like Ant-Man. I love Ant-Man, right? But there's nothing really in there that would be considered, oh my gosh, this thing happened, it would ruin him. If you knew about it in advance, it would ruin a part of the movie for you. No, it's a great movie. I love Ant-Man, but there's like nothing in that movie to really spoil, right? And a lot of movies are like that. Oh my God, Infinity War is filled with them. Filled with them. And that's neither good nor bad. I'm just saying there's a lot of big surprises in the film and like things you weren't expecting and this and this that would be considered major spoilers. And yeah, I can see why. I can see why they didn't do press junkets or press screenings for this prior to the premiere. So yeah, no, they knew the audience, they knew the critics would like this movie. Anyway, I've only got like one. It's a movie you're going to think, man, I got to see that again. Even if you're on the fence about this movie, you're going to be, I got to see that again. Without saying too much more, I'm just going to say it's going to be a movie that you're going to say to yourself, I've got to see this again. Absolutely. Okay, guys, that will do it for today's installment of Open Mic. Remember, guys, got a full day today. The John Campea show is coming up a little bit later. We're going to talk a little bit more about Infinity War. We're going to talk more about going a little bit more in depth into the Venom trailer, stuff like that. And then at 3, so that's at 2 p.m. And then at 3 p.m., my actual review for Avengers Infinity War drops. And don't forget, guys, mark it on your calendar, Sunday afternoon. I believe it's going to be probably around 2 o'clock. What I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to move Star Wars talk to Saturday this week and this week only, so that on Sunday at 2 o'clock, that's Pacific Standard Time, we're going to do a 2-hour-long, all open, spoiler-filled discussion about Infinity War. So as you guys remember, I was planning on doing it on the Saturday, but a lot of you guys said, John, please give us one more day to see the movie. So I pushed it to Sunday, and we're going to have a big open 2-hour open conversation. We can talk about anything you want about Infinity War. That's going to come up on Sunday. So big day today on the John Campea channel. Big week coming up. Thank you guys for being here. My name's John Campea, guys. Thanks so much for being here. And until next time, bye-bye.